Okay. Hello, guys. Welcome to my Create Your 2018 Story webinar. I am so excited to do this. Ever since I had this idea, I've just been so excited to do it. So glad that you're joining. If you're watching the replay, hooray, good for you. I'm so glad you are. The reason why I wanted to do this Create Your Story webinar is because I was thinking of myself where I'm at right now and where I was a year ago. And I can clearly remember where I was and what I wanted to accomplish this year. And I had so many plans and goals, and I was so excited. And I was learning new things and growing and improving and just felt like the world was my oyster. I was so excited. And then I hit opposition, and it was a whole year of opposition and just all this stuff coming up. And I ended up having what's been the biggest trial of my life this year, just recently. And I finally, through the help of other people and different things, I finally, at the end of this year, have got to a place where I feel so good. I feel like I've gotten past all the opposition, and there's still opposition, but I've gotten to a place where I can really move forward instead of feeling like I'm just moving through the mud, because that's been all this year. And so I'm looking at where I am now and where I was before, and now I'm looking down the year of 2018, and I have all these big plans, and I'm so excited. And I know that I can make my year so much more successful if I write out a story and say, this is how I want it to be, and listen to it every day. I know that I'll have so much more success. And so I was really excited to do that. And then I thought, I know other people that have these plans and goals, and they want to have a great 2018, so I wanted to share it with them. So I'm so excited about that. So I want you to just take a minute to think about where you are right now, where you are at the end of 2017. Where were you a year ago at the beginning of 2017? What did you want to accomplish? Did you accomplish those things? Did they not work out? Did they work out? Did it work out differently? Are you kind of in the same place you were? Have you gone backwards? Have you gone forward? You know, where are you compared to where you were a year ago? Hi, Sid, I can see you now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I just barely got home. My phone was charging.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm going to put you on mute, Sid. But if you have anything to say, do you know how to unmute yourself? It's down on the left-hand side. Just raise your hand.
There it is. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to stop my video.
Okay, that's good. Okay. Sorry, I was just so excited to see Sid, and I can't remember where he was. Okay, so think about that. I really want you to think about that, and you can take notes if you want to. And then I want you to think about where you are right now based on what happened in your past year. Where do you want to be next year? Is there something you wanted to do that you didn't? Like, I really wanted to get in better shape physically, and it did not happen. Like, I'm not even working out at all right now, but I was doing so much better at the beginning of the year. My food is better, but my working out, my fitness is just awful. And so this year, in 2018, I'm really going to work on that because I can look back at this whole wasted year of not working on my fitness. And I want to work so hard on it this next year. And I don't want to be in this place in a year. I want to be looking back and say, look at what I achieved. Look how flexible I am. Look how strong I am. Look how great I feel. I can sit on the floor with my kids. I can run around. I can do the dishes without my back hurting. I can do all this. So anyway, that's what I want you to do, is just think where you were then, where you are now, what the difference is, and based on that, where you want to be in a year. Because that's 365 days, unless it's leap year. I don't know if it is. That's 365 days that if you do something every day and really work towards it, think of what you could accomplish in 365 days. It's just so awesome. So I want you to think about that. And then I posted some categories to help you with coming up with some goals, because what I did is sometimes coming up with goals can be a little intimidating or overwhelming, and you don't know what to do. But I just wrote down some categories and the goals I wanted to do in each, and then I used that to help me write out my story. So I posted them in the group. If you didn't have a chance to see them, I'm going to read them off to you. And I can post these in the group again if you need. The categories are spiritual, family, relationships, health and fitness, money and business, home and systems. And systems is like daily routines, the way that you do things. Self-care, character and self-development, education, accomplishment, and travel. So It's basically the same categories you'd have on your vision board, other than I added a couple of the home and systems and the self-care. So if you're in a place where you can, I want you to get a piece of paper out and just think about some goals you want to accomplish this year and write them down. If you're not in a place where you can write them down, I want you to think about it. I'm going to give you a couple minutes to think about it. And then even if you just come up with one goal you want to accomplish this year in 2018, and then if anyone feels like sharing, I would love to hear you guys share. So I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes to do that. Okay, have you guys had a chance to write something down, to think of something? Okay. Does anyone want to share a goal they have for next year? I'll go first and share some of mine, unless you want to go, Sid. Or Talisha.
Yeah, I can go if you want me to. We just get to a place where I can turn my video back. I'm not
okay.
My husband's on a phone call, so I had to move. Oh. Okay, so I have quite a few goals I want to do. My main goal for 2018 is, well, my whole word for the year is going to be magic. But I just want to create magic everywhere I go. And so I want to start with my health. I want to get healthy. I want to turn off some gene receptors that are causing problems in my body. But I also want to, launch my own program. I want to show up bigger for people how they need me to. So those are my two goals.
Awesome. Thanks. I'm so excited for that.
Thank you.
Sid, did you want to share?
Sure, I can share.
Okay.
So my word for the year is abundance. And so I went through a lot of the categories that you listed, and I inevitably forget one or two, but and just kind of journaled what abundance would look like in each of those things. And one of my money ones was that I really want to build up my savings. And so I kind of picked what's a realistic amount, but that would still stretch me, and what that would look like with abundance. So pad my savings account is one.
That's awesome. Good job, Sid. Lee, did you want to type in anything? Okay, I'm going to share some of mine if I can remember what they are. Fitness, of course, I want to do better. I want to stretch every day. Home and systems, I have a daily cleaning routine that I've worked out that I don't do. So I want to do that. I want to do better at reading my self-development books every day. Spending more intentional time with my family. Things like that. So, oh, here's Lee. Oh, Lee wants to travel. Dustin, her and her husband have a goal of leaving the country, either London or Hong Kong. No, that's awesome, Lee. That's a good goal. Okay, so so when you write out your story, you're going to want to write out like a whole page of story. So whether you're physically writing it out or you're doing it on your computer, what I do is I go into the format or whatever, and I do my margins as 0, so it goes page clear to the edges, and then I write it out, and you want to fill that whole thing. So what I started with was goals, and I wrote it out and you want to do it just like declarations in a power statement. You want to make it positive, powerful, and present. So instead of saying I want to work out every day, I put I work out every day. And the more specific and detailed you can get, the better. So for me, it would be I work out every day, and I do it in the morning, and I do it for 20 minutes, and I do an eccentrics, or I do an original strength or something like that. Can't remember what I wrote, but just detailed like that. Or if you want to lose weight, it could be I've lost 10 pounds, or I'm a size 10, or I weigh this much, and to do that I eat healthy. I resist sugar. You're not supposed to I don't do this. Instead say I do this. So I always want to say I don't eat sugar, but like I only eat sugar once a week. Excuse me. I only drink pop once a week. I drink this much water in a day. Things like that. I also have on there, I live in this amazing house, and it has this many bedrooms and this many bathrooms, and it's up by Constitution Park, and this and that, and it's in a great neighborhood, and we love the people. And so just write it out as if it's already happening, because that will train your brain to believe that that's what your story is and work towards it. So anyway, so what I would do is write out your goals for the year, and then just write it out in your story as if it's already happened, and what needs to happen to accomplish that. Like for Lee, with leaving the country, it would be like, we have saved this much money, and we have this much time off, and we're going, or, I'm not really good at making up examples on the spot, but something like that, And then since a page is a lot of space to fill, I have some other suggestions for you of ways to write out your story so you can do your goals. I started mine out with, I wake up at 6 o'clock every morning. I get out of bed as soon as my alarm goes off, and I start my daily routine. And my daily routine consists of this. I do this, and then I do this, and then I do this, and then I do this. And then I do this with my kids and that. And so I think it's a great idea to put in there, this is what my day-to-day life looks like. With how you want it to look, because I think that will just help you so much more in just your day-to-day stuff and working towards your bigger goals. And then something else that you can put on there is, for me, it's like thinking of, if this is what I want to accomplish, if I want to accomplish these goals, like I have some big business goals this year that I am so excited about. In order to accomplish those, or even my smaller goals, what needs to happen? What needs to happen for me? And for me, that's more self-confidence, better self-esteem, feeling like I'm a good person, because that's a story thing I have going on, that I'm not a good person. So in my power statement, in my declarations, in my story, I love myself. I am confident. I know I'm a good person. I do good things. I have purpose. I have direction. So whatever it is you need, or it could be to work out. I love working out. I live to work out every day. And when I work out, I know that my body's happy and it's satisfied, and it's appreciates that I worked out, and it enables me to do this and this and this and this. Or with my kids, I love spending time with my kids. They are so much fun. Because it doesn't always feel that way. But if you tell yourself, my kids are so much fun, I love spending time with them, and I'm patient, and I understand that they're kids and they have rough times, and I'm patient and I'm understanding of that. So whatever you need, like I said, whatever you need to do, what's your basic foundational thing that's going to help you to accomplish that, I think is great to put in your story. Gotta look at my notes. Oh, thanks, Alicia. She's excited for my business goals too. Does anyone have any thoughts or questions? Or Talisha, have you written out a story? Do you have things that I haven't mentioned that you like to add in there?
No, you're doing great. You have a story, but I need to update it a little bit more. That's why I'm here.
Okay, thank you. So I'm glad you brought that up, Talisha, because once you listen to your story, like you're going to get to a point where you're like, oh, I've accomplished this and I've accomplished that and I've accomplished this. And then you can update it. Like you can take out things that you've already done that you don't need anymore and add new ones. So just think about yourself, where you are in 2018, and what does that look like? What does that look like to you? I do this and I do that and this and that, and write that out. So once you've written that out, and if you have space at the bottom, you can do like, I had some space at the bottom, so I just added like, I'm awesome. I didn't say awesome, but just anything that will help you. Little things like I have confidence. I'm bad at coming up with examples. So I'd be like, I'm awesome at coming up with examples. I have an excellent memory. I love waking up early. Just whatever, just fill it in with really good things that are going to help you. Oh, I just thought of something else and then it left me. Okay, so you're going to want to listen to this every day, at least once a day. Sources for building confidence and self-esteem. Sid, we'll get back to that question. She's asking, any good resources for building confidence and self-esteem? Let me think about that. That's a really good question. Okay, so you're gonna wanna listen to it every day. So you can get up and like read it to yourself every day, but I know that I would not do that. So unless you're like, I wanna just read it to myself every day, that would be awesome. What you wanna do is record it. And if you can record it to music that evokes emotion, like some epic music, it can be beautiful flowing music, or it can be like, yes, dun, 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 dun. We're gonna do this and it's gonna be awesome, you know, things like that. So if it can, so the more detailed and specific it is, the more you can picture it in your mind as if it is, and the more emotion it can evoke, positive emotion, the faster it will get into your story and change your story. And once your brain accepts this story as your story, then your brain's gonna be like just going for it, instead of like being like, oh, are we sure we want to do that? That doesn't sound very fun or comfortable or safe. So so listen to it. You can listen to it when you get up in the morning, when you're getting ready, when you're going to bed at night. You can listen to it when you're sleeping. Though if you do that, I'd recommend to like listen to it at other times too when you're awake. You can listen to it when you're driving, when you're cleaning. Just I put YouTube on my computer. I pull up YouTube and I find some music, and then I record it into my phone. And that works really well. And then I just save it as success story on the day that I recorded it, and then listen to it. And I am going to post some, because I was looking for some music last night and I found some good ones. So I'm going to post those for you guys if you need ideas. Yes. So Lee's asking, what about the story you have now? So not a story that you've written, but the story that's in your brain now, the one you're trying to change. And she says, are there things you should do or need to do to get rid of potentially damaging stuff that you already have in your story? Yes, Lee, that's an excellent question. So something you can do, there's two things you can do that I can think of right now. And one is to write out your old story, write out your monster story. So the story that Lee is referring to, an existing story that can cause damage and hinder your new story, you can sit down and write that all out. And then tell yourself, I release this. I keep the things I learned from this and I just release it. And then you can burn it, rip it up, tear it up. Well, that's the same thing. Shred it, crumple it up, and just get rid of it with the intent of, I am letting this go. I'm getting rid of it. I just thought of another thing you can do. You can do that. You can write and burn. I highly suggest writing and burning every day. So as you're listening to your story, if you get thoughts that are like, so one of my limiting beliefs, because I live in a small town and we have like one nice section of town, one or two. And so I like to drive around and look at the houses. And the thought that always comes to me is, you're not good enough to live here. They're not going to accept you. What is the matter with you? And so in my story we live in a nice house, like I said, and it has this and this and this, and it's in this neighborhood that I want to be in, that I drive through and I'm like, you're not good enough to live here. So those are things that you would write and burn every time you have a thought that goes against your story. Like, you're not good enough. You can't do that. What the heck are you thinking? That's never going to happen. Write it down and do the same thing. It's called writing and burning. So burn it, crumple it, shred it, tear it up, get rid of it with the intent of, I am releasing this. Okay. Hold on, Talisha. And then another thing you can do is called block journaling. And I need to be more consistent with this because I know this is so powerful. But if you have that thought of, I'm not good enough for this, you can do what's called block journaling, and you get out a notebook and you write down, I feel this way because. So I feel like I'm not good enough because, and then you just write down everything, just brain dump everything that comes to mind. And this is such a good opportunity to learn what's going on in your brain and to recognize it and get rid of it. Like I was doing a group with Talisha about femininity, and she asked us to do something feminine, and I was so mad at her. I was like, this is so stupid. Why do I have to do this? And I thought, this is a really good moment to block journal. So I did, and I learned the reason behind why I didn't want to do this feminine thing. And it was a totally limiting belief. So that is super helpful. Sid says, I'm find black journaling so helpful. I'm better at letting things go when I understand my why. Yes, and it's so nice because your brain holds on to your story and it thinks this is absolute truth. So the things that you find out in your black journaling, your brain thinks is absolute truth. But once you see it, you're like, that's ridiculous. Why do I believe that? And this is why I feel this way, and just let it go. So yes, thank you for sharing that, Sid. Does that help, Lee? Yes, awesome. Okay. So what are 3 common beliefs? Talisha says, what are 3 common beliefs you see people struggle with? I feel like I don't always see the negative beliefs I have. It's a good question, Talisha, one I was not prepared for. I think so one of the ones I see that drives me crazy is people just think I can't change. Like I'm set here and I can't change. I'm too old. I'm too whatever. I have kids, or just I can't change. And that's a big one, is that I can't change, which is super, super limiting, because I found that if you don't believe that you can change, you're just totally cut off from any possibility of that. So you just have to believe you can change, and you can. Other common beliefs I see people struggle with. Another one is perfection, that it has to be perfect. That is a big thing for me, is perfection. Like even writing out my story, I'm like, it has to be perfect. And like you can see, I was gonna put pictures in these holes, but I didn't have a chance. And so I just let it be, because I'm trying to let go of perfection. So perfection is another one, like feeling like you have to start, you have to be perfect. Like I got a bullet journal for Christmas, otherwise known as a bujo, Sid. And I am terrified to start it, but I'm just going to do it. Sorry guys, I'm rambling. And then a third common belief I see, and that's a really good question, Lee, or no, what's your name, Talisha? I don't know. I'm going to have to think about that. That was a really good question. Okay. I'll come back to you, Talisha. And I'll come back to you, Sid. What was your question? Any good resources for building confidence and self-esteem? So the biggest thing for me in building confidence and self-esteem is telling myself every day that I have confidence. Like telling myself, I have a power statement I say every day, and it says, part of it says, I go forward boldly and confidently, I go forward boldly and courageously, fully confident in myself and my abilities. And I realized today that like with my power statement, all of a sudden one day I'll be like, whoa, this is part of my power statement and I'm doing it. And so even today I just realized, man, I just feel so much more confident in my ability to do things. So telling yourself, black journaling helps a lot. I had another thought. What was it? Oh, writing down my accomplishments and seeing what I have accomplished helps a lot, and remembering those things. Does that help? Is that like what you were going for, or am I? Sid, I'm unmuting you. Hold on. Sid, does that help, or are you looking for something different?
Yeah, no, that does help, because I'm always like, I know I need to build my self-esteem. I just don't really know how to go about it. It's really vague. So that does help.
Yeah, telling yourself, like it seems like such a simple thing, but man, it helps. It works so good. Also, I'm gonna. You mute yourself. Cool. Another thing I found is looking at yourself in the mirror. Like I will take off my glasses and look in the mirror. And when I look in the mirror, I'm like, man, I am a good looking person. Not like that, but I think, wow, I just look, compared to the picture of myself I have in my mind, when I really look in the mirror, it is so different because I just see this, bleh, but when I look in the mirror, it's just a whole different person that looks so much better than my mind portrays myself. And I look in my eyes and I just talk to myself and tell myself stuff and love myself. And that helps a lot too, if you want to try that. And something I found in mentoring people is people don't want to look in the mirror. And so give yourself time to look in the mirror, and that helps a lot with that too. And I thought about the third answer to Talicia's question. Let's see if I can remember what it was. Oh, so the other limiting belief is I don't know what to do. Because there's so many times I'm like, I don't know what to do. And then I'll talk to someone and they'll be like, how about this? And I'm like, oh, I totally knew to do that. So just people not trusting themselves. And then also something I've learned from Talicia is to ask your soul what it knows. So just the limiting belief of I don't know what to do. I have to go somewhere else to find the answer. So I don't know if that answers your question, Talicia, but that is my answer to your question. So, okay, let's look at my notes here. You take my own voice, but yes, that helps. Yeah, it's hard because it's so easy. Okay, so Talicia says, I need to take my own advice, but yes, that helps. I just lost my train of thought. It's just so easy to tell other people what to do. And that's the great thing about being a mentor is you're like, I can see exactly what you need to do and this is it. But then it's hard to take a look at yourself and know what you need. So, I can think of a couple things that you struggle with, Talicia, but I don't know if you want me to share them with everyone or talk later. Anyway, okay, so that's most of what I have for you guys, unless you have other questions. So just okay, hold on. Let's talk later, Talicia. Okay, so just think about where you want to be and write it all out as detailed as possible, because seriously, the more detailed it is, the better. And if you can record it and read it to yourself with emotion, with the music is helpful. And when you listen to it, if you can visualize it, is good. Because if you can get it in and your left side of your brain with the words and the right side of the brain with the music and the images, then it'll get into your system, into your story, into your subconscious where your story is faster. And then you can work towards those goals. Do it a full page, record it, listen to it every day. So I have created a Create Your 2018 story group for people who have watched this webinar who maybe want some help with it, because it definitely took me longer than a day to write out my story. So just if you need any help, any suggestions, any advice, any guidance through the process of doing that, because I don't want you to leave this webinar and be like, well, I can't figure it out. I don't want to do it, and just have it not happen, because this will be so helpful for you. Even if you can't, and that's the other thing I wanted to say is, don't compare your story to what you think it should be. Like mine was, when I recorded it, it was 6 minutes and 50 seconds. So don't think, oh, it's too long or it's too short, or if you can just write out a little bit, then do that. Another thing you can do that is helpful that I was going to mention earlier is you can take the categories and say, this is what my spiritual life looks like, and write that out. This is what my relationship life looks like, and write it out. And just focus on that and write it out, and then just kind of piece it together. That's something else I sort of did to do this. So I'm just a big believer in whatever works, do that. Whatever is going to get you to write your story and do it and listen to it every day and record it, do that. Whatever helps. And if you want any feedback or anything on your story, you can let me know. So anyway, so I created this group. I'm going to add everyone into it. So if you don't want to be in it, just take yourself out. I will not be offended. And then I am doing New Year mentoring sessions that are about 45 to 60 minutes for $10. Normally they're 20, but I'm going to do it for 10. So if anyone is interested, just get a hold of me and we can set that up. If you want to do a discovery call to see where you're at and where you're trying to go and what I can help you with, we can do that too. Those are free. Does anyone have any questions? I feel like we went through that really fast, but I'm a fast talker, so. No? Okay. Awesome, guys. I'm so excited for you guys to write your stories. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. It's been fun to have you guys tonight, and have a good night, and I'll talk to you later. Oh, someone said something. Thank you. One question. Okay, go ahead, Talisha. She has one question.
Okay, so I love this, but I always get hung up on it. So like I get halfway through, and what do you suggest I do or we do when you just hit that snag and you're like, I don't know what else to put in this? Like you kind of talked about that, but can you go a little bit in more detail? Because that's where I get hung up. I'm like, I can't fill a whole page, or I get 2.5 pages and then there's still blank space, and then my mind is obviously going to fill that with a negative. So can you go over that just like one more time?
So you can change the font. That's a Brittany fix for you.
I love it.
I would just take time to ponder about it. Like, if you've gotten 2.5 pages is a lot. I feel like that's good. But if you're having a hard time filling the space, I would just kind of ponder and meditate. And for you, Talisha, ask your soul, like, have you gone through the categories? Is there something else you can add? Is there another way you could get more specific? Sorry guys, I think of things and then they leave me. What are some basic things that I need to add into this? Like I'm Talisha and I am creating this amazing new modality and this new group thing you're doing. Sorry, I can't think of the words right now. What do I need to do that's going to help me with that? Like, something I was going to say is, if you have a hard time with knowing where you're going, say, I have purpose and direction and I know where I'm going. Just left me again. Sorry guys, it's a problem. Or just pay attention to your day, to your limiting beliefs that come up, or like when you black journal, what's coming up in your black journaling that you can add in there that's going to help you. Oh, good. So did that help, Talisha?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Okay, something else I did, Talisha, because I had written another success story a while ago. Oh, my heater turned on. I was trying so hard to not have that happen. Hold on one second, guys. There we go. As I did this mentoring program where it was a purpose-driven one, and we took these categories, and she had me write out a story for each one. So and then I had another story I wrote out, and I was trying to kind of piece them together, and I was having a hard time with it. And I got to the point where I was happy with it, and then it was like 2 sentences over. So I went through, and I kind of tried to figure out what's kind of redundant that I can just kind of put together, sort of thing, so that I can have it just be the one page, so I don't have to think of a whole nother page of stuff to write. So, Sid, you did think of a question. Go ahead, Sid.
Yeah, so obviously we want to dream big, but like, how big is too big? Or is there a too big? Because I know sometimes my dreams are like cripplingly big to where I'm like, there's no way that's going to happen, so I'm not even going to bother, you know? Where does one draw the line?
When I believe, so you want to stretch yourself, but you don't want to do something where you look at it and you're like, that's not going to happen. So you don't want to have it so big that it completely shuts you down, but like if it makes you feel a little nervous or a little scared, or like, I have no idea how this is going to happen, then that's okay. So like if you have something that's like, how in the world am I going to do this? So like if one of my goals was, I want to speak on stage in front of thousands of people, like my brain would be like, that's not happening. There's no way. Or I'm going to run a marathon. My body would be like, no, don't run it without me. We're just staying here. So what I would do is break it down into like I think I've told you about the one thing where you take this huge goal. This is where I want to be. Now, what do I need to do in 5 years to get there? What do I need to get in 2 years to get there? What do I need to do in 1 year to get there? And then monthly and then weekly and daily. So what you could do is take this huge goal and say, okay, what's a step below it? And how do I feel about that? Am I still freaked out about that? Is that too much? Or is it just right? And get to the point where it is just right, if that makes sense. And then kind of build up to that. Like that's like kind of doing the foundational things I was talking about. Like for me, it's to have better self-confidence, to get to be where I can be this mentor that I want to be. Does that make sense, or am I just rambling? So just big is good, too big is just too much. So just think, okay, if you can discover the limiting beliefs that are making that big goal way too much and shut you down, then you can say, okay, this is my limiting belief that's keeping me from getting there. This is what I need to get me there, and work on those things. So, and if you have any questions, we can always talk about it later. Any other questions? Just going to give you a couple minutes to think. I have found when I have a hard time coming up with stuff that if I meditate beforehand and try to clear my mind, that helps me to think of things too. You can also brain dump, which is when you just write stuff down without even thinking. You just write everything that comes to your mind. It doesn't, like, I know this is going to like terrify you, or not terrify, but don't worry about grammar or punctuation or how neat your handwriting looks. Just write it all down and get it out, and then you can kind of go back and read through and see. Also, you can, I posted something recently about doing 100 list. So you could write down 100 ideas you have, and it gets all the other ones out and then comes up with new ones. So those can be ways to help you to come up with ideas for your story. Talisha says, what are some successes that come from doing this? Successes that I have had is I've gone from having like super anxiety and fear to just feeling so much more confident and capable. Like I can do this stuff because my brain's not fighting me anymore. Sorry, Talisha wrote more. So I feel like my brain's not holding me back anymore. I feel like I can do anything, which gives me more confidence in everything that I do. Through my story, like I feel like I'm becoming a better mom. Like I enjoy my children more because I tell myself I do. Not that they're bad children, they're awesome children. I just have a bad story up there. But I just lost my train of thought again. Sorry, guys. But really just the biggest thing for me is feeling like I can accomplish anything because I feel like I can, because I don't have those blocks, because I'm telling myself again and again and again that I can do it, and that just bleeds into other areas of my life. So Talisha says, what if I feel bland about my story? Can I change it even if I don't feel like I've accomplished what I've wrote? So Talisha, do you mean like if you, sorry guys, down the wrong tube. Do you mean like if you're writing out your story and you write what you want to have happen, but you just feel like silly about it? Oh, okay, sorry. So if you haven't accomplished what you've written, but you want to change up your story, I think that's totally fine. If you do it with a positive emotion, a positive attitude, instead of feeling like, oh, I'm a failure because I didn't accomplish this and I want to change up my story, just do it with I'm letting this go so that I can make way for better things. Does that help? Okay, awesome. Did I help answer your other question too about successes? I just feel like the biggest thing is that it just opens up your mind to so many possibilities. It helps you to believe that it's possible, and you just see the opportunities everywhere for you to do this. Like seeing opportunities for me, because I'm like, when can I hang out with my kids? I have all this to do, and just seeing opportunities to do it, and small opportunities to just sit and cuddle with them and love them and to enjoy it instead of thinking, oh, I've got to do this and I've got to do that. I'm looking for other things to do. It's awesome. I love it. I'm so excited for you guys to do your stories. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Awesome. Talicia's good now. Leah, I'm assuming you're good. I can see Sid. She's good. Awesome. So good. Good job, Lee. Okay. All right. If you guys have any questions, let me know later. And then I'm adding you to the group. And awesome. So thank you guys for being here. And I hope you have a good night. And I'll see you later.